Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together, came on today and gave huge compliments towards CaitlinClark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to CaitlinClark, and people seem to not like it, man.
This time, the heat wasn't aimed at the usual suspects. It was directed straight at the WNBA, with the MVP conversation taking center stage. And right at the heart of the storm, CaitlinClark. Yes, that CaitlinClark. Stephen A. Smith absolutely erupted on national television, not over the Cowboys, not over someone snubbing LeBron, but over Clark's treatment and her place in the MVP race. What followed was a full-blown televised sermon, complete with finger-wagging, raised eyebrows, booming volume shifts, and enough sweat to fog up the First Take cameras.
Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP.
Stephen A.'s rants aren't debates. They're full-blown performances. And when he set his sights on CaitlinClark, it wasn't just commentary. It was an eruption. It felt less like sports analysis and more like a Broadway monologue delivered at max volume. He didn't just support the idea of Clark winning MVP, he insisted on it. If you weren't convinced before, congratulations. Stephen A. just guilt-tripped your conscience into reconsidering. Think CaitlinClark deserves MVP this season? Drop a comment below and show your support. Let's keep it moving.
Well, let's remember this. Last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished 4th in league MVP voting.
Let's be real. Subtlety has never been Stephen A.'s strong suit. When he talks basketball, he doesn't whisper. He erupts. It's less of a conversation and more of an audio earthquake. And this time, the shockwaves weren't coming from Madison Square Garden or Crypto.com Arena. They were centered in Indiana. Because CaitlinClark has been putting on so much on-court magic, even the loudest voice in sports media had no choice but to crank up the volume.
But she's CaitlinClark. She put on a show in her old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brazil.
You knew Stephen A. was going to hit DEFCON 1 the moment CaitlinClark strolled into the league, casually pulling up from the logo like it was a layup. Now, the most dangerous sophomore in the WNBA, the queen of deep threes, the human ankle, breaker, has officially landed in Stephen A.'s obsession zone.
I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality it's gonna take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about CaitlinClark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not gonna shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
In what can only be described as a caffeine-fueled linguistic volcano, Stephen A. Smith let it all out. CaitlinClark isn't just a rising star. She might be the real MVP. Not someday. Not soon. Now. She's the kind of player who makes veteran defenders question their career choices and keeps opposing GMs up at night, wondering how they ever let her slip away. Stephen A. didn't just raise the volume, he shattered the sound barrier to say what everyone's been thinking, but hasn't had the nerve to say out loud.
And then I'm looking at the regular season, leading all rookies in scoring, field goals made, three-point field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes. She's the real deal. Make no mistake about it.
This wasn't some throwaway segment tacked onto the end of a rundown. It was a full-blown Stephen A. spectacle. A high-octane hot take ballet somewhere between she's a walking bucket and she's transforming the league. The energy was so intense you could practically hear the ESPN camera crew praying for a commercial break. CaitlinClark isn't just here. She's taking over. She's turning defensive game plans into punchlines and raining logo threes like it's her. Personal highlight reel.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
It's no surprise that Stephen A. didn't just recently hop on the CaitlinClark bandwagon. He's been riding shotgun since her Iowa days, hyping her up like she's the perfect blend of Steph Curry's range, Sue Bird's vision, and Diana Taurasi's fire, just with better camera angles for social media. But this time, he wasn't dropping hints. He was yelling. Forget subtly floating the MVP idea. He flat out demanded it. Why are we even pretending? There's a debate? His message was clear. How many more logo threes do you need to see before she gets the trophy? If CaitlinClark's not at the top of your MVP list, go ahead and hand in your analyst credentials.
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion.
Stephen A. didn't just join the MVP conversation, he hijacked it. His rant didn't add fuel to the fire. It extinguished the debate entirely and turned it into a full-blown public service announcement. If you were paying attention, you heard it loud and clear. Stephen A. grabbed the sports media megaphone and declared, "Every fan is all in." Fever arenas have been electric all season, and honestly, at this point, is MVP even a big enough title? Let's stop and appreciate just how absurdly unreal CaitlinClark's rookie year has been. This isn't just a strong start. It's a full-on basketball fever dream.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up showing that CaitlinClark had the best odds to win the MVP this year. And man, I wish I could hear what they were saying.
Stephen A.'s take wasn't just another hot take. It was a full-blown public service announcement. He didn't just enter the MVP conversation. He dominated it with a tirade that echoed across the league. MVP voters, hope you were listening because Stephen A. grabbed the sports media megaphone and made it clear, the fans are all in. Fever arenas have been electric all season, and honestly, is MVP even enough to capture what CaitlinClark is doing? Let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer absurdity of her rookie season. This isn't just a strong debut, it's unreal. She's casually averaging video game numbers, brushing off triple teams like their pre-game warm-ups, and dropping dimes so precise she could probably thread a needle from half court. Welcome to the CaitlinClark era, where reality feels like a basketball fever dream.
So let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only CaitlinClark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for CaitlinClark is going to be like nothing we have ever seen.
Her advanced stats are breaking the brains of data analysts. Absurd assist-to-turnover ratios, elite shooting percentages, and a measurable historic impact on ticket sales and attendance. She's not just putting up numbers, she's shifting the entire landscape. From national headlines to sold-out arenas, surging merch sales to highlight reels on repeat, and let's not forget the defenders left behind, both literally and figuratively. The CaitlinClark.
You got a girl here who's box office in CaitlinClark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is CaitlinClark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's what she does.